Hello, I'm Nancy, and this is Jetson. In our recent Rapture event recap video, we announced that there'd been a new development at the Sungate. The event was what we call a Sungate flip, and this is an exclusive special report.
There's no doubt that humanity is facing serious and even perilous times ahead. So imagine my surprise when I received my latest order from the High Commander, King Yeshua. It was simply this: please have fun.
Sounds a lot like enjoy the show.
Precisely. So, thank you for tuning in, and now on with the special report.
You are looking at a diagram of the Large Binocular Telescope, or LBT. It's housed in the LBT Observatory in Tucson, Arizona, and it's one of the largest, highest resolution, and most powerful telescopes in its class. It is also the most unique telescope in the world because of its dual mirrors. And it's owned by the Holy See and run by the Vatican.
Who knew, right?
Agreed. Nothing about this seems to add up.
Right. You wouldn't think a religious organization would fancy having an observatory.
Nor would it seem reasonable for that observatory to be located a world away from their headquarters.
Yet, here it is, in the Peñalino Mountains of southeastern Arizona.
So, what does the LBT Observatory have to do with the August Sungate flip?
Ah, I thought you'd never ask. Based on the research done for this report, I believe this Vatican-run observatory is where it was filmed.
Ah, yes. Let's watch that clip. But first, I'd like to point out that Jetson is the only one reporting on this event who knew there'd been a flip of the Sungate 8 years prior to this one. So in this clip, you'll actually be seeing the last 2 Sungate flips. Even though you may not fully understand what you just saw, this clip was just to orient your thinking on what we mean by Sungate flip.
As you saw, what we're calling a Sungate flip is when the active area at the edge of the screen switches from one side to the other. Now we're ready for more clarification on these seemingly bizarre images. Here, we're using stills from 2012 to show you two different cam views.
By this time, we hope you have tons of questions about the images themselves. As in, what in the world am I looking at? What is an orrery? And what is a Sungate? What edge is this and where is it located? How were these images filmed and why? And more.
We're excited to say that those are the very questions we were able to answer while preparing this report.
True story. But to tell it, we'll need to explain a few things first. Let's start with the orrery. Here's a generic orrery that we're told depicts our solar system.
Yes, we're telling you that Earth's sky is a giant planetarium. But even though the stars and planets inside the orrery are only lights on poles, there is a real outer space. And these lighted objects inside the orrery are a magnificent display of God's handiwork, for they are an exact replica of what lies outside the dome.
We also need to make sure it's understood that there are incredibly evil beings behind the establishment of both the Vatican and their astronomical research program. NASA is an agency the Vatican Observatory proudly states they work hand in glove with. Both organizations are knowingly working for Lucifer and the 13 hybrid bloodline families.
Now that these 2 points have been made, let's get back to the Sungate, which is not a man-made gate. The Sungate is actually part of the heavenly realm. Not only is it the only port of entry for craft, it's also the only gate through which the heavenly realm sends torsion field energy.
Torsion field energy is infinitely more powerful than any type of energy that can be generated within this system. But if you don't have knowledge of the times and seasons for when this energy is available, you're at a huge disadvantage.
You see, we've discovered that the mission of the Vatican's astronomical research program is this: keep the knowledge of times and seasons and its resulting advantages all to ourselves.
The proof of this shows up everywhere you look. For example, we now know the Vatican has an entire segment of their priesthood dedicated to astronomical research. And by virtue of having a monopoly on studying the heavens, the Holy See has controlled the field of astronomy for the past 4 centuries.
But by far the biggest crime against humanity this group has ever committed was to deconstruct the world's calendar that had been in use during Jesus' lifetime.
When you understand that humanity's enemies imposed a fake physics to limit our abilities and in the process limited their own, then you can start to understand how crucial this knowledge of times and seasons is.
And by deconstructing the Julian calendar in 1582, the Holy See's Vatican astronomers struck a devastating blow to humanity's ability to ever recalculate or reconstruct actual times and seasons for the opening of the Sungate.
Right. The Vatican's gang of Jesuit astronomers were used to perform the calculations necessary to convert the Julian calendar to a solar calendar.
The Catholic Church has a long history of astronomical observatories sponsored by the papacy or by the Vatican, dating back at least as far as the 16th century, when Pope Gregory XIII commissioned the Jesuit Christopher Clavius to do the observations necessary for the reform of the calendar.
Research for this report revealed that when the Vatican's Jesuit astronomers speak at events, they always find a way to boast about how they reformed the Julian calendar.
This meme that's going around about the calendar switch is pointing out that to pull it off, the astronomers had to remove 10 days from the calendar. Could those 10 missing days be the 10 days of darkness?
Equally interesting is that 2023 is the 144th year since their Gregorian calendar was implemented.
Interesting indeed.
Now let's watch the 2 Sungate flips one more time as we explain what's being shown. What we're looking at are images taken by cameras attached to one of the gigantic mirrors of the LBT. These blue images are a zoomed-in view of the area just outside the Sungate. We can also see bright balls on vertical poles moving about all through the orrery. The attached cameras are filming the mirror, which is reflecting what the telescope is viewing up in the heavens. As mentioned, I believe there's evidence that the LBT Observatory has become the sole source of all images released by NASA through their various websites. Here are some facts that led me to this conclusion. Number one, in 2007, NASA was able to start releasing 3D sun telescope images, whereas before, all the images were 2D. Number two, the LBT has more built-in and attached camera equipment than any other telescope in the world. They even have one named Lucifer.
It's supernatural.
Okay, I promised you we would find out this great Catholic astronomer, number one, is operating with something called Project Lucifer. What is that?
Well, up on top of Mount Graham in Arizona, there's an observatory complex that consists of 3 very high-powered telescopes. One is the Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope. There's a radio telescope, and then there's one called the Large Binocular Telescope. This is the most powerful telescope in the world. In fact, they told us they can get better images of space than the Hubble Space Telescope can. Now, attached to this telescope is an infrared camera named Lucifer, which is really a kind of an odd name for a camera. And from the information that we gathered, this thing was named by the Max Planck Institute and some German astronomers. But the Vatican is part of this conglomerate up there, that they're all working together. Now, what this instrument's used for is astrobiology, for looking for exoplanets, looking for other worlds. And the infrared spectrum is also very useful for seeing things that can't be seen with the naked eye. And many UFO researchers have noted that you can see a lot of ships and entities that you normally can't see.
Tell me about what the Vatican astronomers are telling you, or what others, experts, I mean, you had a research team.
Right.
Tell me a few of the things they're telling you.
Well, first of all, the day that we spent on Mount Graham, the entire day there, we had the Jesuits speaking to us face to face. And one of the things we found amazing in the use of the Lucifer device and even the other telescopes is how commonly the astronomers spoke of UFOs. We were just taken back by the fact that it was almost a nuisance to them that there are so many.
Why would the Vatican be studying this?
Yeah, well, not only are they studying it, Corrado Balducci, who was the spokesman for the Vatican, he was their official mouthpiece concerning the alien presence, not just the reality of aliens on other worlds, but an alien presence that is here on Earth now. You can go to YouTube and watch his shows on Italian television when he spoke for the church and said that the church was using its embassies around the world to compile information, a case study, if you will, on what the aliens are doing on Earth now.
Now, you've actually researched with Vatican astronomers.
In the course of doing that, getting permission through the Arizona State University to go there to meet with their astronomers, the Jesuits who are there, we also got access to top astronomers that work in Rome, including an astronomer by the name of Guy Cosmonago. He's one of the top astronomers for the Vatican.
What was the major thing you got from your interview with him?
He says, without apology, that very soon the nations of the world are going to look to the aliens for their salvation. There is a professor for the Pope's university in Rome, and he is a very highly respected intellectual. His last name is Tanzaniti. And he has written a paper now in which he is saying that very soon, not right in the beginning, we won't have to deny our Christian faith in the beginning. But there is information coming from another world, and once it is confirmed, it is going to require a rereading of the gospel as we know it. And that's the kind of information that we are receiving from the highest levels of Vatican intelligentsia.
And number three, the LBT Observatory went online in 2005, or saw first light, as they call it, which would have given them 2 years to develop and perfect 3D formatting for their images by 2007, when NASA began releasing them. Based on what I've discovered about the Holy See and their astronomical research program, I'd say the LBT was most likely built to ensure that their control of every aspect of this area remains absolute.
But if everything's so secret, Judson, why are these images released to the public?
Brilliant question, Nazi. The images are released to the public because that's the easiest method of getting them out to their operatives. But the NASA sites that release them are neither advertising their existence, nor are they easy to find or navigate through. And even when found, no one outside of their club can decipher what they're looking at. So it's one more instance of the enemy hiding the truth in plain sight.
Well, not anymore. This report is a major step toward pulling their secrets out into the light.
We're in the fight, dark to light. We're in the fight, dark to light.
We are indeed. Now, as mentioned in 2007, a milestone development enabled the Sun telescope images to be filmed and formatted for 3D. So, using 2007 as a marker, here's an interesting sync with the year 2007 and the two flip dates.
Keep this in mind for later.
Now let's explore how the Sungate could flip.
Obviously, this heavenly transport bay did not jump over to the other side of the heavens. If you've been paying attention, you may have already figured out the solution.
Here's our theory for how the Sungate was flipped twice in the past 16 years. First, we know that the LBT is not filming objects or areas in the sky by pointing a camera up there.
Correct, Nazi. The camera is pointed at the telescope's huge mirror and is filming the mirror as it reflects what the telescope is viewing. So, to flip the Sungate, they simply switch the camera to the other mirror.
But now we have to ask, why the flip? Is there any meaning or significance to it?
Based on what we know about those who own this technology, the 8-8 date sync we just showed you could have served as a calm to their groups about the 8-8 Lionsgate. The recent flip took place in August, the 8th month on their Gregorian calendar, and we know 8-8 is code for a torsion field energy event.
If it was an 8-8 date com, what did it communicate to those who received it?
Perhaps it was a confirmation that when the Lionsgate opened this year, they were able to use what was sent from the heavens to break the eights of the fake physics they've imposed inside their matrix.
So, by using two 8-year deltas as markers, they sent the message to their secret societies that the Lionsgate energies were successfully harnessed and used to add maximum power to the furtherance of their agenda against humanity?
Brilliant summation, Nancy. But, of course, we can only guess, for who knows why this insane lot do anything. But I will say we had to rule out the idea of the mirror switch being a regularly scheduled maintenance event, simply because 8 years is far too long to go between cleanings and resurfacings.
Agreed. So now that we have covered the two Sungate flips and presented our theories on how they were accomplished, and perhaps even why, we'd now like to reveal who's controlling what in our skies.
At the most basic level, we have a sun, a moon, planets, stars, and now we know there's an area in the heavens called the Sungate.
The moon has already been covered in part 5 of the Collective Mission series, hosted by our channel correspondents and colleagues, Starseed and Saint. So let's move on to the Sungate.
In 2021, I was given the word Sungate. And now I've come up all on my own with a name to call the beings who control it. I call them astro angels. These beings also oversee the operation of the orrery.
Astro angels. I'll go with that.
So the astro angels are controlling the heavenly gate that serves as the way in and out of this domed environment. Moving on to the sun. Wow, what can I say? Anyone over 60 remembers using the yellow crayon to color the sun. And they remember at least one really bad sunburn from childhood. As fantastical as this may sound, the original sun is long gone. In fact, the yellow sun was not even the real sun.
True fact, Judson. No one alive has ever seen the original sun. The yellow sun was a grill work, a frame of flames, you might say. Earth's invaders were able to set this grill in place using their knowledge of advanced technology.
Of course, we have to ask why these beings would want to hide the sun God created. And there are two main reasons. First, it was a crystal, a magnificent crystal that transmitted information from the heavenly realm through the pineal crystal in the human brain. This was, of course, highly beneficial for humans, and the invaders were having none of that.
Second, as very low frequency beings, the invaders found this crystal both extremely unpleasant and even harmful to their biology.
Now here's a shocker. That crystal sun has been gone since the early 60s. Not just hidden, but gone from the realm. It ascended out using torsion field energy that came in from the heavens through the Sungate at the appointed time.
The original sun was able to ascend because it had the times and seasons encoded into it. And it was completely unaffected by the enemy's manipulative deeds, invasive frequencies, and detrimental programming. So, if both the fiery grill work and the original sun are gone, what's that up there, rising in the east and setting in the west?
We'll close this report with some bonus footage filmed in Bavaria, Germany, and posted by the Truth Hunters YouTube channel. The filmer used a polarized lens to neutralize glare and various infrared filters to shoot these spectacular scenes.
This is footage of sun simulators in action. This technology was not created by God. It's operated by NASA, and you'll see the actual technology in the sky that's normally hidden from cameras and the human eye.
Enjoy the show!